Let me tell you, good morning, grand rising. It's been a while, and I know, so today is Sunday, December 8th, right? And I know many people may not be up right now, but I have been moved to share a message this morning. I just finished watching a video. I shared a link about it on my wall. And yeah, what can I say? Yesterday was quite a, what can I say? Something was kind of nudging me, triggering me, you might say, to, kind of start making moves about, the future. So here I am, sharing my message. I'll be honest, I don't know how to kind of get into it. I've been writing a couple things down, because, I feel like there's a lot to cover. So I'll just jump right into it. I'll just get right into it. For those who know me or been following my story over the past couple of years, I had this experience some time ago in meditation that led me to the path I'm on now, and I felt at that time like the most impossible is possible, due to what happened. But we have to be realistic. At the same time, we need that balance. You can dream, you can be lucid in the dream to be realistic in the dream, right? But anyway, again, I'm just going to get into it because I don't know another way than to address the topic I am talking about here in my last post. And it is Layla Mickelwaite addressing Pornhub and trafficking, human trafficking, specifically as it relates to youth, abused children, people, young people, again, but broadly, people who are taken into the system and simply used for, just used terribly, it's a powerful Jordan Peterson. It's Jordan Peterson talking with Layla Mickelwaite, it's a powerful conversation that they're having about addressing this issue. So again, once again, the lady's name is Layla Mickelwaite. Her book is Takedown. Again, we know that these things have happened and that it's still something we're facing. But it can be overwhelming, I know it can be overwhelming to, even take that first step to imagine, you might make a difference in something so deeply embedded into the matrix, so to speak, right? The system, the society, the illusory, superficial surface, Not everything is what it seems, so, again, it's okay. We're going to get through this one step at a time. Let me give you a real-world example here. See, I'm drinking this can, and it looks like it's Monster, right? But in actuality, it is water. I'm trying to, make use of my water here. Okay, now, all right, so now, getting to this topic, I think that there is a temptation to be some kind of glorious figure, to be the hero, right? To be an icon, to be something. And we don't necessarily have to shun the hero. There are many heroes, right? But it's not about the attention, it's not about, the glory, you know what I mean? It's about doing what is needed. So, because I think I'm saying this because, for me, presence, right? Being here now, letting go of fear of like what we did wrong, looking at the past, looking at the future, and making us anxious or kind of like causing some kind of disturbance in us, is a lot of times simply the solution. Just being here now, just, bringing attention within, as not to any identity or memory or anything like that, but just to bring attention within your body, to feel, your own living presence, to feel, who you are, you know what I mean, as a part of something greater, and I think that it really is. I mean, it's, this solution, this practice of presence and awareness, this practice of conscious living, as it's called, a lot of times, has been around for thousands of years, right? This is not something new. This is not like some kind of novel approach to finding inner peace or, finding your true self. These types of things. This is, again, it's an age old, practice that goes back to many different places, many different stories, many different sages or icons, heroes, whatever figures that again brings up kind of questions, but we're living in an age of technology, of an unprecedented proliferation of access to technology. And that's kind of bringing me back to my point here. What is that technology doing? For me, I'm going to say relation, right? Conversation. I'm going to say that technology can bring awareness to who we are, to a deeper being, to a deeper sense of life, and even more, and here's the thing, right? This might get a little bit intricate. It might get boring. It might get it might not be entertaining. It might not be what you were looking for today. Again, I'm not even sure which way this is going to go, but I got to talk about it. For myself, for my mother, for my family, for everyone, it feels to me definitely something I need to do. Now, I'm going to bring up a modern day example, a very well-known teacher, Eckhart Tolle, right? The author of The Power Now, A New Earth, a figure that stands as an example of living presence, of living peace, of living love, as some, may describe him, living awareness, just a modern day example of, what Oprah Winfrey calls a prophet. Bringing me back to the conversation with Layla Mickelwaite, how Jordan Peterson calls her a prophet. I thought that was particularly interesting. And if you have read his books or heard his talks, or again, even if it's not him, but I'm speaking about him because there's a couple different points that I'd like to get across in the meaning of the modern interaction, right? Like how do we navigate the waters of modern technology while still having that ancient wisdom, um, bridging that gap. Um, so here's the thing. To me, you see, to me, we're living in this environment where, again, we have technology to do so many things, to kind of prevent so many things. Layla Micklethwait, talks about the law and how it relates to preventing children from being trafficked. And, and that's the thing. The law is a technology in a sense, because the law is there for the balance of fear, right? The law, okay, when one is conscious, or I'm going to go as far as saying fully conscious, enlightened, awakened, to the extent of, true fulfillment, to that point of like, whatever you want to call it, nirvana, whatever, ultimate being, for me, I would say that there is nothing that could compel you to violence, to do harm to any life, because you have come to understand that again, it's something that is a false. It's an illusion. Like when we're threatened by something, it is for the sake of survival of the form, right? It's fear comes from the notion of being threatened of one's own physical being losing security, or losing resources, or losing reputation, or the sense of like annihilation, the idea that you can be killed, that you can be ended, right? But we are more than just the body, and we are more than just the mind. So our true self cannot die. Who we really are, is true future, in the sense that, again, like, we're not just the body and the mind. So now, let me take a second here. So, you might think to yourself, well, okay, that being the case, again, why would we do anything, right? Why would we, if we're not moved to, if we're not moved to go find some resources, or if we're not moved to, provide some kind of service out of that, from that trigger, from that threat, what would motivate us to do anything, right? And, I wouldn't blame you for asking that question. Because it is a good question. But, I think that a simple answer to it is appreciation. Like, one might be motivated to go be of service, to protect your family, to give comfort to your family, to, help in some way, right? It doesn't have to even be your blood, your immediate family. It could be, you see someone, in stress, and you want to be of help. And so you could make that conclusion. You could come to that conclusion that, again, it serves a purpose. And again, I'm not going to take away from that, because being in this body, living this life, has purpose. Experiencing our reality through the temple, through the physical, experience is meaningful. Again, it's kind of, in a lot of ways, something we all have to experience. We all have to whether or not we get to that place of realizing that, again, we're more than just the body, right? We're energy, a spirit, a soul, a truth, you know what I'm saying? A consciousness, okay? An awareness that, again, is beyond words. The words can kind of identify or localize a part of the experience of that spirit, the experience of that soul or that awareness or that being, but it's not the totality of what it is. There's no way to summarize that. You can attempt words. You can attempt words like divinity. You can attempt words like, Brahman, or many different things. But the unmanifested, right? You can attempt to communicate about it. But that brings me to my point about the meaning of modern technology, the use of what is it here for? And I'm just going to go ahead and make it simple. It's to get to know each other. It's to build, to be aware of each other, to appreciate the beauty of, our experience, of the effort we put into how we present ourselves, into the maneuvers and everything. I don't want to, again, go too deep into this too quickly, so I'm just going to take my time and drink some of my water. Take a moment to breathe. Laugh a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Enjoy my life, alright? Remember my Mustafa, my Nala, my Madre. Alright, so let me bring it back to the subject here, okay? Technology in our relationships, technology in experiencing the adventure of a lifetime, kind of like reveling in the joy and everything, I'm saying? Again, not avoiding the suffering, you know what I mean? Facing it, experiencing it, sitting with it. I'm not trying to express to you about myself that, I have a number of challenges that I face, but that's the thing, no matter who it is. I mean, even Eckhart Tolle, whoever it is, you know what I mean, is going to need help, you know what I mean? No matter how strong the person appears, no matter how wise, no matter how, let's look at Jesus, right? Whether it's Jesus, Eckhart Tolle, whoever it is, Buddha, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Again, whoever it is, your hero in real life, right? Someone, maybe your parent, you might be looking at and like, wow, they're so great, you know what I mean? They're so put together and they can just kind of get through anything. Well, it's like, life is full of twists and turns and it's constantly changing. So one day that hero, may need you. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. Again, I need help too, you know what I mean? I really, I think that there are many times where I do ask for help, But I feel like the modern world we're living in, again, it's kind of like, whether it's cryptocurrency or access to just, pornography or even escape, you know what I mean? Like too much, having too much that you're overwhelmed and simply cannot deal with some of the day-to-day things of life. I mean, again, I'm trying to keep this really clear. I'm trying to keep this really simple, and focused. So I'm not going to get distracted here. But to me, I'm speaking about conscious communication through technology. You know, it's it's something I feel like that is necessary because although again we have people like Eckhart Tolle, right, or Sadhguruji, Hak Jahan Moon, you know what I'm saying? You know, there are plenty of people who bring attention and awareness to God or to an inner being or to a strategy for unity or whatnot. You know, even though we have so many icons or leaders, we also have many people who are undercover. We have many, you know, unsung heroes out there. And you know, I know that you're watching them. You know, you're watching. You know, you're one of them. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is we're going through, we're in this together. And that's the thing. Like sometimes we need that suffering to kind of like remind us that we have to do it together. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just don't want to speed through my thing. I was watching one of my last videos and I'm just like, man, slow down, buddy. So I want to, you know, slow this down, and don't want to rush through nothing. So I'm gonna take my time. You know, I'm drinking my water, but I might have to crack a can of real Monster here because what can I say? They get me through my times at sea. My man Virgil knows what I'm talking about. So much to the story, right? It never ends. You know, it's a beautiful life, though. You know, it's a beautiful life. I don't say that. I don't say that like it's not just a beautiful life; it's a wonderful life. You know, it's a really wonderful life. It's a really wonderful life. But in the meantime, let me just take a moment here. I'm going to bring up this book. Okay. That's the thing about the camera, though. Kind of like, you know, does it backwards. But it's called The Big Healing. The author here is Christopher McKeon. You know, author of a couple other books, including The Story of Life. You know, he is someone within my community. He's someone within, you know, someone that is known within my inner circle. And I'm just reading the book. I want to bring it up because it's an interesting topic on healing and spirituality, and you know, it's his own personal testimony of, you know, the possibilities of, you know, really becoming something more than what you could have even imagined. You know what I mean? So I want to bring it up. I'm getting through it, and it's definitely entertaining for me. I've taken away some good messages, but it is, you know, it's quite captivating to me for a number of reasons. Again, because it's someone that's from within my community. He speaks to the story of the community I'm from in a way that is candid and, you know, very relevant to my own experience in life, and speaks a language that I'm so familiar with. So I just want to bring it up too real quick because it's definitely a good way to pass the time for me recently, and you know, I pray it might do the same for you. So yeah, you know, I wanted to bring that up. I love reading my books. You know, recently on my YouTube channel, I've been posting some readings I've been doing from what's it called? Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi. So if you want to go check that out, go do that. It's also a really good book, got a lot of good insight into not only financial freedom, but you know, success habits that, of course, can lead you to financial success. As you know, if you look up Dean Graziosi, you'll see. You have to take my word for it. But also, you know, success habits that can lead you to fulfillment. Success habits that can lead you to again, success in other areas that may not necessarily be apparent of, you know, financial, particular material success, even though, again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, you know, but Yeah, so I might be cracking my can of real Monster because I do got to start my day, and I do got to finish up some work outside. But I do got to finish my message here too. So I'm going to do that. So coming back to the message of facing trafficking of the human family, right? Because humanity is one family, right? So no matter how distant it might seem to you, or even if you don't believe that, even if you don't understand that, we're all connected. And what affects one of us directly affects all of us indirectly, okay? So, again, we got to, find that innermost peace. We got to find that innermost understanding of who we are, one way or another, one step at a time. If we don't, again, it's not like it's over. It's not like it's the end. But, again, it's kind of like we do got to do something, right? We do got to do something in this life. And, again, we can enjoy it. I mean, I'm enjoying talking to you right now. I'm seeing my people out there, and it's wonderful. God bless you all. I know you helped me along this journey. If you want more content from me, I really, truly appreciate all the people out there, with the encouragement, share my stuff, or even, help out in different ways. I truly, I cannot emphasize it enough how much it truly moves me forward. But period. It's like, you never know, like a simple thing, the simplest of things can make all the difference, I will say, in addition to that, if you do want to see more of my content, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is, I have been working on developing, a way to produce more content, but I would need more help to do that. So if you like what you're seeing, if you appreciate my content, either reach out to me, share the video, or become a supporter somehow. You know what I'm saying? Because again, it's like life. That's the thing. It's like we do gotta. I'll do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? It's looking like right now I might be coming back to Seattle at the end of January, or maybe the beginning of February. I got some stuff planned out there. So again, it's not. It's like 90 now. It's like about 95% sure to happen. So, but again, trying to keep it close to the chest. All right, let me get back to my point here. In a global family, in a global community, with more impact and interconnected lifestyles than ever before, there, to me, is a need seen for discussion, for communication, and interpretation, translation of our stories, so that we can enjoy better. You know what I'm saying? So that we have more time to enjoy together, so that we have more time to enjoy and understand what it is we're going through. Because again, this life does come to an end. You know what I mean? Our physical life. Miracles, right? So again, we got to do something. Now, modern technology, again, to me, it's kind of like Eckhart Tolle, right? He brings up that there are certain things that, it's like he poses this question in one of his books, right? He's like, is there any reason to believe that that who we are as human beings has kind of fundamentally changed, or that we're different than we were in the past, even thousands of years ago, that we're not driven by the same motives, that we're not, you know, that we're, you know, that we actually have evolved, that we actually have, you know, become something different. And he plainly says no. And again, I'm paraphrasing what he's talking about. But it's a really, you know, he says some really interesting things in the book that are extraordinarily challenging in some ways. Like, one thing he talks about is that, you know, our intention, not just our intention, but again, the true reality of what these intentions, you know, who we are. Because he talks about the ego and how deceptive the ego can be. The ego will tell you that you can be threatened. You know, the ego will tell you that, you know, that you can die, right? The ego will tell you that you can lose. The ego will tell you, you know, it'll basically, again, imply that the fearful voice is something to give power to. And as you hear me say this, I'm sure you're probably thinking, wow, of course not. Why would I empower fear, right? And that's to me the point of this conversation, this communication, right? Because sometimes we need reminding that voice of fear, you know, you can just ignore it. You can let it go. You can, you know, you don't even have to just like, you know, you can be aware of it, you know, and understand that, oh, it's like, you know, that's a memory, right? That's a memory from some experience that no longer has relevance to my life. But, you know, we all need that reminding. Again, let me bring it back to this one story of a teacher 2,500 years ago that is known now today as the founder of, you know, a very great religion. But one day he was basically thought to be dying on the road. And this little tiny girl comes over to him and gives him food and water, right? And it brings him back to life. It restores his health. It gives him just enough to reach his destination. And that's what I'm trying to say. You know, again, little things, to the least of these you've done to me. You know what I mean? No matter how small it is, no matter how small you think it is, or maybe even you don't know. But like a smile, kind word, you know what I mean? Big things can be great too, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, because even big things are kind of small things if you zoom out, you know what I mean? Yeah, this conscious communication, right? And language. Eckhart Tolle, right? Eckhart Tolle, you know, he says that even if your intention is to bring heaven to earth, to make heaven on earth, or something along those lines, right? It's of the ego. And to me, again, that reminds me of what Jesus said, right? He said, I did not come to bring peace on earth, I came to bring the sword, right? And so it's kind of like, well, what does that mean? I thought, like, you know, as the Messiah, as the Son of God, as the great prophet, you know, you would, you know, it's like, you know, you got to kind of have to, again, go through your own understanding of what the meaning is, you know what I mean? Because Eckhart Tolle also says that humankind's ultimate destination is to overcome the suffering, but not in the way the ego thinks. So as you can see, again, there's kind of these perplexing mysteries, right? But that's why we need all of us, right? Because each one of us is a piece to the great puzzle. So no matter how evil someone may seem, I'm not saying that there aren't people who have gone beyond. I'm saying, you know, because, again, there are, I mean, going back to the whole trafficking issue, you know what I mean? If somebody has come to a point, right, where there's a point of no return, so to speak, right, where it's like, I mean, again, I'm trying to get to a really challenging point here where, you know, I mean, every lost sheep must come back. but at the same time, it's better to be bound by the neck and thrown into the sea than harm the single hair of a child's head, right? Point of no return. So we see apparent contradictions, and that can be really challenging. So why him and not me? Why, this instead of that? Why nature or nurture, right? But that's the thing. Again, that's why know yourself. That's why I'm talking about this whole transparency thing, because while we are alive, while we experience this life in our bodies, we have to be realistic about how people, we have to be able to go through that. Excuse me. We have to be able to go through that journey of etiquette, right? Or again, just knowing where you are, knowing the time and place that you live, understanding the environmental language, understanding the culture. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not saying like obsess over whatnot. I'm not saying you got to I'm just saying again, like be aware of not only the environment, but the language of your environment. You know what I'm saying? Certain, like it will help. You know what I mean? Okay. All right. So now, that's what I'm saying, right? With the modern technology and with this conscious communication, with this story of, success, with the story of becoming, more aware of our connection, with this epic journey of transformation, of laughter, with music. Again, there's certain parts we have to observe, certain things we gotta cover. Okay, so the point I want to make here is about interfaith. Okay, because we know that there are certain cultures in the world, religious cultures or spiritual cultures, that unite people, right? That bring awareness, that bring, safety, that bring a sense of oneness and connection, to everyone. Bring the sacred space, bring that place for prayer, bring that place for meditation, bring that. Of course, it can be anywhere. Again, in your darkest moments, often that's the time where you're driven to prayer. That's where you're driven to the hardest things that you've been avoiding tackling, right? But again, we can, you don't have to wait for those things to happen. You don't have to be driven to insanity to wake up to what's real. Okay? All right, bear with me a minute. I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be right back. How are you all doing? Hope your day is treating you right. Might have been up for a little while. Might be just getting up. I'm on the East Coast. So, East Coast of the Estados Unidos, the United States. You know what I mean? The great nation under God. Todavía, pero, you know, de español, de como, de, you know, de Dios. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let me know how you're doing. I see the people out there. You know what I mean? I appreciate you. You know, my man Virgil. You know, and you know, my great sister Jessica, Uncle Carlos. Anyway, I'm not trying to be no busybody and whatnot, but I'm just love y'all honestly from the heart. You know what I mean? It's been a while, you know what I mean? It's always, to me, it's always good to see a familiar face. I've been thinking about that recently. You know, I feel like we kind of sometimes maybe unconsciously are looking for a familiar face. You know what I mean? You know, someone looks like someone you know, right? Oh, is that her? Is that, you know what I mean? No, it can't be. Wait a minute. You know what I mean? I feel like I found myself sometimes in a situation where I'm like, you know, whoa, he looks like, you know what I mean? Because, you know, familiar face is always kind of comforting, you know what I mean? And you never know. Maybe it is the person, you know, that you thought it was. You know what I'm saying? You can trust your gut. So, yeah. Where does technology, you know, I mean, I think here's the thing, right? So, I was talking with my craft mate last night. You know, we were doing some vocal work, right? And, you know, it's something in the modern age, right? I was going to a church one day. I was going to a Mormon church. And the lady who was teaching, you know, she was talking about, again, like the modern, you know, like, you know, influencers. She was talking about how there are a lot of undercover influencers and, you know, and like, you know, like recognizing, you know, like, I guess, again, the motives for people. And it's an interesting, again, it's kind of like, it's a weird world in a lot of ways, right? Like, you know, we got these, you know, social experiments happening. And it's like, wait, am I on camera now? Candid camera? What's going, like, something feels, you know what I mean? Like, it just kind of, there's all these different things, right? It's kind of like, I mean, check out Damon Darling on TikTok. This guy, it's like, you know, because he just gives out money. And I remember this one video, he was like, you know, you know, this lady, she was like suspicious, you know, I mean, she's like, you know, like he really, like, you know, he's giving us some, you know, he just buys all of her groceries and then gives her money and whatnot. And she was like suspicious. But sometimes, again, that's the thing, right? It's a price illusion. That great deal that you know, you might just find what you've been looking for, you know, if you don't run from it, if you can accept, if you can receive that bountiful blessing, you know what I mean? So, but that's the thing, you know, I mean, I'm saying, like, the awareness of how connected we are in the world, right? I mean, let me bring it back to interfaith here, okay? Because, you know, it's something that I go to topics on TikTok, specifically certain places, you know, because, you know, it's again, it's just a journey, you know what I'm saying? You know, if our ultimate destination is to be liberated of suffering, and I believe that's the way Eckhart Tolle described it, liberated of suffering, but not in the way the ego thinks, then, you know, and it's like, I hope this is making sense to you. You know, I remember my people at different times in my life telling me that, like, you know, I jump around, or I've got this kind of like, you know, like, I got this big mind, or I got this, like, you know what I mean, mannerisms of, like, you know, seeming random or tangential and whatnot, you know what I mean? And so I'm not trying to just, like, ramble. I'm trying to get through some points. I'm trying to, I'm trying to point to, a good future. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I do it for myself as much as I do it for anyone else. Like I said, I know that there have been plenty of people in my life who have thought so, who've appreciated, like what I've been able to do, and it's like, but at the same time, I mean, let me go to some hard truth here for a minute. I remember, like, I mean, my mom, for those who know me, has always been like, just, I mean, again, like I'm speechless again. I can never, finish talking about her. But of course, even her, right? It's like, we had our times where it was like, Mom, you don't gotta fuss, you know what I'm saying? You don't gotta, like, be, it's like, I don't need, all these different things, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I need something, I'll let you know, you know what I mean? And if I let you know what I need, then please hear me when I say it, because I think that, like, sometimes we can, sometimes we can give things that aren't needed, you know what I mean, receiving even a penny, right? The story of Jesus, right? The story of Jesus where Jesus is like, receives that penny from the lady. She wanted to give him something, and he was able to receive it, and she felt like, that was for her in a way, you know what I'm saying? So being able to receive is really, in a lot of ways just as important. But sometimes, again, there are things we don't really need, and but we want to give, you know what I'm saying? We want to give, and it's like, because sometimes what we give is not received, we stop wanting to give. It's like, oh, well, I tried to give him this, I tried to, help her with that, and it's like, and so that memory blocks you from receiving more, or from giving more, or whatever. Or just being, like experiencing, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, see, because for me anyway, this is the thing. This is why I'm bringing up interfaith, okay? Because to me, it's like, yes, inner awareness, you know what I'm saying? Being conscious, these kind of like woke and like popular expressions for our virtue, like, for our morality, for our direction, for our purpose. Sometimes, again, it's like, they may reach a certain level of value, you know what I mean? But being beyond the language, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, again, understanding the language, understanding the context. Oh, man. Interfaith, what I'm saying is that interfaith, to me, is at the center of awareness and conscious living, right? Because it's like, we as one family under God, right? We as, the people, the citizens of Earth, you know what I'm saying? Like, we as, various parts of a global community, you know what I mean? With so much rapid capacity to communicate and to, witness certain things. It can be so overwhelming. The news, that's what I'm saying. So it's a balance for me. And again, I'm curious to hear what you think. Like, to me, as you may have noticed, I've been off Facebook for a while. And I feel like I've gotten pretty good with a lot of different aspects of social media because, that's the thing. Again, it's not just about the attention, you know what I mean? It's not just about being recognized or, one's reputation. I mean, it can help, you know what I'm saying? It's not bad per se, right? But how, you know what I mean? What do we do with it, right? with money, you can build a temple or you can break a window. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. But I'm curious to hear what you think. You know what I'm saying? Because I just feel like what Totally is talking about with, like, there are certain things that are kind of like, it's like, right? It's like, there are certain things that we just kind of have to accept, that we just kind of have to understand are a part of life. You know what I mean? I take breaks, like I'm just saying. Like, I take breaks from social media, from, you know what I mean? But I also can keep that information. I also can come back to it. For me, it's kind of like there's so much access to, like, an audience these days that, yeah, I'm curious to hear what other people think. I mean, I may or may not take it, but, like, I feel like I've been led today to bring up this topic of interfaith because of this video, Jordan Peterson and Layla Micklethwait. Some things may never change. You know what I mean? There may be things that we simply cannot overcome, but it feels to me like, again, the kids are worth fighting for. You know what I mean? The kids are worth, the kids are, need our attention. You know what I'm saying? Because even if you don't know them, again, it's like we're all connected. And if we don't face it now, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to pray. You know what I'm saying? You got to pray. It won't be, won't come back to you. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm needing a forgiveness too, because I'm just like, what do I do with this? You know what I'm saying? What do I do? I mean, it's incredibly moving. This lady, Layla Micklethwait, right? She wants to, like, she's exposing the trafficking, system and how it's connected to pornography. It's like, and you don't need to feel any kind of way about that. I'm just saying that, like, you know what I mean? Little baby steps, you know what I'm saying? Anyway. Yeah, I'm sorry. I just feel like she's made some amazing progress. She's gotten her book published. She's exposed certain identities, for, being complicit in allowing, or even being a part of how, the system has, just proliferated, terrible things, right? Avoiding policy changes. And I think it's amazing. I definitely commend this woman, Layla Micklethwait, in her book Takedown. And of course, Jordan Peterson, everybody knows, he's been kind of at the front line of teaching an approach to, dealing with the absurdity of, like, identity politics. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, it's just a lot to go through. And that's the thing. I mean, I need help. You know what I'm saying? I need help because, like, so many things I gotta do. You know what I mean? But I won't avert my eyes to certain things. So I hope what I'm saying is making sense, or it's getting through. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, it's like we all have our own we all have our own, responsibilities. We all have our different, immediate, challenges to face in our life. So, I don't want to distract you from that. I don't want to, I just want to let you know that you're loved again. Like, I love you, the people that watch me here on Facebook, and, your family, of course, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's like, dealing with life, right? My mom would always say, we're here today, gone tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to speak my truth, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to help how I can. I'm just trying to, I'm not trying to, because I know what I do. I know, like, again, it's like, no matter how things change or the faces at the table may be different, I know the love, you know what I'm saying? I know what love is. I know my values. I know, I know my direction. And I am thankful. Still blessed. Anyway, so I'm gonna leave it there. To me, again, I'm just like, I think there's so much in life, to be. It's almost overwhelming. I was talking with my buddy last night, my craft mate, right? I'm talking about, like, the beauty is so overwhelming. We know about analysis paralysis, right? We know that sometimes we kind of, like, perfectionistic, right? We're always like, oh, let me get it just right. Let me get it, what I'm saying, to the point where it's like, it's good enough, right? But sometimes, he made this point. I'm just like, man, it was a really good point. Sometimes the beauty is pausing, right? Something is so beautiful. Sometimes you see things that are just like, just leave you in awe. And it's not paralysis. It's not like, you know what I mean? But it's just like, but it is in another way, because it's like, you just don't even know. You just can't, like, like where your jaws dropped and, it's like, you're just like, you don't know what to do with what you've seen. It's like, like seeing the face of God, you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope what I'm saying was clear enough. If you want some clarity, or you want to ask me questions about what I'm doing, or if you want to get involved or again support and whatnot, please feel free to reach out. Please feel free to send me a message. Again, I've been off Facebook for a while, so I just got back to it. And I do try to stay as, present in my, art, or I do try to be focused on my values, on the love that, I understand, what I'm saying? So I may not always be able to respond or whatnot, but I feel like I'm pretty good at it. So, let that light shine type of thing. I'm reminded of, but, because again, right, like this. Anyway, okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Again, I hope this was helpful. Feel free to reach out, or, what I'm saying, get engaged with what I'm talking about. Family, right? Like, all right, so thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.